Hey, everybody, welcome to another edition of Creators Outlet with our special guest, Varian Grant. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Hello. How are you?
Good. We've been talking about doing this since we met over on CromCon a couple months back, and I was like, well, I want to get him in before I hit episode 100 next week. So, and it kind of like fell in line, and here we are.
I got in right under the wire there. Yeah. I'm happy to be here. I gotta say, your intro is really cool. I like that. I'm inspired now.
Thank you. A friend of a friend made that for me from the Toking with the Dead comic book series, formerly the Toking Dead. Apparently, somebody with the initials AMC took comment. Thank you, Jason. Took issue with that, so it is now Toking with the Dead, and it's a funny series, and great bunch of guys in a good community over there. And one of their friends was like, goes, "Oh, you need an intro? I'll make an intro for you." I go, "Cool."
That's cool. It was a good intro.
So I liked it. He goes, "What kind of music?" I go, "How about some rock music?" He goes, "Okay, some loopy rock music." Here we go. So tell everybody about everything you have going on. I know we got Indie Volt Radio and TV, and your comic company, and Liberty Distribution, just to name a few things.
Yeah. I've been making comics since 2008. So I have a comic book publishing company called Last Call Comics, which my wife and I co-publish and co-own together. That's mainly just straight to put my work out there. But you find like-minded individuals as you go on, and you're like, "Hey, man, I'll publish that for you." So that's how that grows. Indie Volt started about. Well, actually, Indie Volt started. I'd say it started. We celebrated our third birthday last year, but it really started before that. It's probably actually like 5 years old. But we started just to put the word out about indie comics, because what I wanted to do was, I felt like indie comics weren't getting the same type of exposure and the same type of quality exposure and media attention that the mainstream books are getting. And I wanted to try to change that. So I figured, well, if I could, I'll create the website. We'll get, quality articles, interviews up there. And, let's do this. This is like 5 or so years ago. And, but keep in mind also that I live under a rock sometimes. So I don't know what anybody else is doing. So I created indievault.com. We got that started publishing stories. That launched on July 3rd or 4th. It was really weird because it was Independence Day. It launched it, and it did fairly well. Started doing interviews and reviews over there of comics. Kind of drifted a bit, started covering some other independent things, independent film, music, and even at one point cover indie wrestling. We no longer cover indie wrestling just because it's just so hard to get a beat on those guys. But we don't cover it as a priority anymore, unfortunately. But yeah, then we did that, and then from there we started Indie Vault TV, which is over the top or streaming network, uh, which is it's free. It's on Roku. We're gonna put it on Amazon Fire Stick pretty soon too. But so it's free. It's stream independent movies because I know a lot of independent directors and creators. So they were like, "You don't do anything for us, man." So created that. Then Indie Vote Radio came out of that because we got TV, might as well get a radio, right?
Mm-hmm.
And independent music is on there, and then also we have shows. Yeah, we play shows like podcasts. A lot of that is exclusive to Indie Vault. There's some superhero dramas on there, and some not stage plays, but radio plays that are on there that are really exciting. Yeah, and that's Indie Vault. I mean, and we got some other stuff we're doing with Indie Vault in the future. It's going to be really fun. I get a kick out of it. I did step down as editor-in-chief of IndieVolt.com because that was just too much work, too much on my plate, and I had to concentrate on Liberty. Yeah, it's a whole boring story.
And that wraps around to bring us to Liberty Distribution. And of course, I've got lots of questions about that because the majority of all the shows I'm doing are all talking to creators like yourself and other people.
Mm-hmm.
And, most of them are like, either freelance or, straight up, indie, either self-publish or, all crowdfunding. And when I first heard you talking about Liberty Distribution and the 100% return policy and everything else, I go, wow, this is what every comic shop in America needs is like, here, try these books. If they sell for you, great.
Yeah.
If not, send them back to us and we'll send you another bunch.
Yeah. We just want to get, again, those books in the stores. It started actually over a conversation 5 years ago now. Me and a buddy were sitting at a con in Traverse City, Michigan. It's a con called C4, and we were doing that show, and we were talking about getting our books in the stores and how hard it is, and I said, well, me and my wife had decided, we had discovered that if we went to, when we were traveling from city to city, state to state, if we go in like a day earlier, what we started noticing was that we would go to some of the stores. Hey, listen, I'm going to be at the con this weekend. Here's 3 issues of my book for free. You can sell these, and we started making, inroads with these store owners, which was great. Mm-hmm. But, I know a lot of store owners back here in Michigan, so much, in fact, that it got to the point where I would just walk into some of these stores and walk behind the counter because they just knew me. And I would ring. I think at the point I was actually ringing customers up for people, but the store owners I started to, I'm like, look, I make indie books, and I know you carry them because you're my friend, or I come in here so often, but like, why? What can we do to get more indie books in here? And they would talk to me about different things, and one of the things that we kept hearing very early on was store owners don't want to do business with every publisher out there, every creator out there. They don't want to deal with me personally and Will and Pops and Eric and Randy. They don't want to deal with all of us on a person by person basis because as creators we can be a little eccentric, and and so it was like, well, that's why that's why the distribution companies are so important. But it was my belief that the independent distribution for distribution for independent comics was being handled so poorly that we need to do something. And so, I took a look at what, the main distributor had been doing, and took it apart and tried to see, was there any bit of that formula that they were doing that we could salvage? And after looking at it for about 3 days, I'm talking like 3 8-hour, 9-hour days, just trying to figure out how they're, how what they had do, what they were doing at the whole thing. Like that won't work. We had to figure out something. So, talking to all these comic shop owners, being a publisher myself and knowing other publishers, try to put together something different. And that's what Liberty is. It's distribution done differently, because the old way is not working. And you get, 5 years ago, I was looking ahead saying, what happens when this crashes? What happens when, and then the weirdest thing happened. When I started it, or when I started talking to people about it, no, people weren't interested at first. So we've been building up slowly, and I tried it with my own company. My company was the first company that I had, signed up. And for a while, Liberty was only being produced, or only producing my stuff, because I had to make sure it worked before I would bring anybody else on.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, one that you mentioned, the pledge, we have the Liberty Pledge, which is, and the Liberty Pledge only covers certain books, but it's a lot of books, and it's up to the publisher if they want their books under the Liberty Pledge, which basically says, if this book doesn't sell, there's a window of time there. If the book doesn't sell in this amount of time, you can send it back to us, and we'll either get you some new books or, your money back, because I don't want the book sitting on your shelf if you can't sell them. That book needs to be being sold, read by somebody. It doesn't mean it's a bad book either if it can't sell. It might not be the best book for that particular store. Maybe maybe that person's fan base or their client base is more into superhero stuff. Or we got, the slice of life book on the shelf. It's not going to sell very well. So yeah, it's called the Liberty Pledge, and I can share it if you want. Let me see here. Let me share my screen. Sorry, being on the other side, this is weird. All right, yeah, here we go. So there's the Liberty site, which this is the site that most people, when they come to the site, that ledg.us, they get this page here, which is in need of some updated graphics, but that's actually being worked on. But some of the companies that we're proud to distribute, there's just some of them too. There's more now that needs to update as well. There's our mascot Bill. Different artists have drawn Bill, which is for me really exciting, because I designed her and then had all these other artists jump in there and do their spin on her, which has been really cool. There it is. There's a pledge. So yeah, just making sure that the store owners need help. I know there was someone a while ago said that I said that I don't care about store owners. I never said that. I have friends who own comic book stores. I came very close to retailing at one point. We don't want them in any worse position than they are now.
Mm-hmm.
They're willing to take a chance on these indie books, then we should be willing to help them out if their gamble doesn't pay off. And it should, because we come to carry the best books of Liberty. How it works is someone would send, they can come there. We got a retailer's portal up there, a vendor's portal. They can click on any of those and sign right up. We've got, if you click on vendors here, so this is where you would sign up if you want to sign up and get your book with set up with us. Usually I will require a PDF or something to overlook the book and make sure that it's something that of quality that we know that we can put in a store and sell. So far so good too. We're signing up stores. It's again, a lot of stores are some stores are reluctant at first. They're like, I don't know if I want to do it for a distributor. But when we show them that we got quality products, you know, and we don't have like those ridiculous minimums that some companies have. You know, you have to have this many comics. You have to order this many. If that month nothing is you know, good for you, you don't have to order anything. We will love for you to, but if you don't, that's fine.
And about how many stores are you dealing with right now?
Right now, we just crossed, I think it was 57, very close to 60 stores. I was really upset though. I gotta tell you, well, I was upset because I had hoped to have at least one store in every state, and that did not happen. So I was like, oh, but we are expanding, and we got some other exciting news coming pretty soon. That you know, I think store owners and people who, you know, have comics that they want to see on the shelves are gonna really like.
Well, I know that's one of Pop's big grievances, is that he wants to be able to walk into his local comic shop and see, you know, books from all the indie creators that he's a fan of, and be able to pick them up there, opposed to paying, you know, like you know, $10 or $15 for shipping for, like, you know, each individual you know, title like that.
Absolutely, yeah. You know, I've talked to people who've told me, well, we don't need the stores anymore. And I don't believe that's true. I think that there's still something to be said for the comic book store. You know, it's like, I personally like a store that concentrates on one thing. I can go get my video games from Best Buy or Walmart, sure, but I do like going to GameStop because their business is video games. So when I can buy comics from anywhere, but I want to buy from the comic shop because generally those people who own comic shops, there's a good chance they're going to be somewhat, you know, involved in the fandom. They're going to be able to assist me. The Allegiance Arts books that come out last year in Walmart, my local Walmart has the books. They tied them to a shelf. They zip tied the little cardboard display they have to an end cap at the end of the electronics aisle, and they just got issue 1s in there. And so when issue 2 came out, they were getting ready to be released. I went to the store to get them, and hey, where are the issue 2s? Oh yeah, I can't put them out. The electronic manager tells me. I'm like, why not? And he's like, oh, I can't do that until the issue 1s or so. And I'm like, no, that's not how that works. Issue 2, they have to be here. You have to. No. And then I go back in there and, oh, we don't handle that. No, periodicals. There's a lady who comes in and does that. And I'm like, no, she doesn't. I know more about that deal than the people who are working there. And so, but that's what happens when you don't have that type of education. You're not educating the people who are selling the books. That's why, again, there is still a desperate need for the comic book store.
And hey, not for nothing, and not to sound completely nerdy, but comic book stores are magical. COVID aside, you know.
Yeah,
there's something special about going into, like, your favorite comic shop. You know,
I agree.
Slightly inspired by that show that ran, like, what, 8-9 seasons, basically centered around, you know, us nerds.
Yeah,
and you know, I thought it was great, and I'm like, oh man, how come I'm not the nerd with the hot girlfriend?
you know, they had that on Comic Book Man. Comic book stores are, you know, you have comic book stores that are like, and you have people who you can tell when they love their store, and they put, you know, man, there was one guy, I wasn't even in his state, but I was like, oh my god, it's so cool. If you bought over $20 worth of books, you got a free drink. You could either choose coffee or a soda. And it was like little stuff like that. I was like, oh, you know,
Well, I was overly excited when you said drink, and I'm like, oh, like coffee or soda. I go, oh, okay, I'll take a coffee.
yeah.
I'm also the that also has me kind of like apprehensive
Mhm.
to have like people with forms of liquid anywhere around my comic books.
Yeah, that could be, that can be scary because some people they get there. I mean, we've all had it at Comic Cons where remember a young lady came by, they were selling beer. She had a cup and she set it on the table, like she set her cup on my comics, and I'm like, while she's talking to somebody about something not related to my table at all, and I'm like, wow, she's drunk, and if that cup spills over, gonna have a bad time. But yeah, you would be a little scared to do that. But this guy, it works for him. It works for him at his store, and his customers seem to love it. They keep coming back, and
You gotta find what works for you and your customers,
mhm.
and then you start with that, and you ease into other areas like my LCS. I'm old, which is probably why one of my shows is called "Okay Boomer," the podcast. Uh, and I discovered I'm 51 now, and I discovered my first comic shop, and I've been going there for like I don't want to count how many years because then it just makes me feel even older. But I discovered that shop showed up in the town that I was living in. Uh, I discovered it when I was like 15,
Mm.
and I'm still going there. The owner sold it to the manager, who is like one of my best friends till this day. Uh, and I still go there. He's got like they've always got like an amazing back stock. When I first started working for the original owner, he had two stores, and then one of the stores in another part of the state he closed because of problems, and then he sold this one to the manager. And when he sold this one to the manager, we could boast that for the longest time they had like over 100,000 back issues like on the floor at like
Mhm.
any given time. It's not a big store. It's a small store, but it's packed with a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I I remember my father was into collecting. He collected comics, sports cards, things like that, and we'd go to the comic stores, and I knew where there were four of them that I used to love to go to. But one of my favorite ones was a store that's closed now. It's called Comic Archives. I wish that crowdfunding would have been around to save them, because they were trying to get the money raised up, and they were just short. They were short like about $1,000 or so dollars when they had to shut their doors. But they won the cool. I remember I had a lot of memories going there with my father. My father passed away when I was 13, but I remember going to that store. I got a copy of The Killing Joke, first printing from there.
Nice.
And it I remember picking that book up and saying, "Dad, can I have this?" And he was like, "Yeah." He didn't care. I was reading. He didn't care. But they had in the window as you would drive down the street, you could see Spider-Man's back. Someone did really good work. They had a big paper mache Spider-Man, gorgeous Spider-Man paper mache thing, life size, and hanging upside down, with his arm stretched out. And I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. I wanted it, and this thing stood in the window for years. And when they closed, I remember freaking out, like, where's the Spider-Man? Where is it? Please don't tell me it's in someone's garage getting, wet and damp and molded. No, but what happened was another comic shop, they had moved their location to a bigger store, and they have it now. So they have that Spider-Man, and they have it. It's much higher now. It's like they got like that big 20-foot ceiling. And I'm like, should it be all the way up there? But yeah, you said when you said they're magical, man. I remember, you know, there are times I could walk in the comic store, much to my wife's chagrin, and spend hours in there, and come out as if I had been, you know, at a casino or something, like with a bag full of, comics or, little knickknacks, $80, $90, $100. I think we went in the comic store once, and uh, she bought some stuff too, but my bill is usually much higher than hers. So she was like, I think I may have spent like 120. She spent like 30. And so comic shop owners love to see us come and hate to see us leave.
Yeah, I think the most I spent, uh, like I never spent a lot of money like at a convention.
Mhm.
You know, at like any given table, like I would buy, I'd catch like an indie book or an indie creator, and I, get his story and check out his product, and if I dug it, I'd buy it, but I'd be like, hey, can you sign that? And because I've been unpacking like a 22-foot long trailer here, full of my stuff that a good friend of mine had stored for me, and I was in a coma back in 2016. When I came out of the coma, uh, I was crippled, and now I get this cool power chair, and I'm like, so now I feel like Seinfeld's friend, racing down the sidewalk in that episode.
Mhm.
But I got my stuff back, and I've been going through it and finding stuff. I just found. Remember back in the day when it would cost you like $10,000 to print out like a short run of like 300 books. So you would go, some indie guys would go to like the local Kinkos or whatever, and they would like photocopy like all their stuff and then staple it together.
Mhm.
I just found a couple of those old books from like the very first Boston Comic Cons I went to
Mhm.
back in the '90s, where people they just wanted to get their stuff out, and people to check it out, and I had some actual full legit like issues that I found again that were like signed to me, and brought back memories of the con. But if I went to my local comic shop, on average, I would spend like 100, like a buck and a quarter to a buck and a
Right.
half a week.
Yeah. Yeah. And you think you like, oh, I'm just buying these comics, shouldn't be that much, but they can get expensive. They can get, especially when you start, oh, they have this, it's a back issue, or it's this book I really want. Um, I'll buy it. I remember, I was in a comic store, and the owner we just wanted out of his shop. He had first printing, uh, first issue of She-Hulk, and I'm like, how much do you want for it? Because he's got it bagged and boarded up on the wall. He's got, I think he had 30 wrote on the little um, post-it note,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, he's like, he did me like I think he did like a ridiculous deal. I think he was like, look, 15, even 15, it walks right now. You can take it 15. I'm like, here you go. And now I have that book, She-Hulk's movies or TV shows getting ready to come out, and I'm gonna have myself a book that's worth a couple $100 maybe. But yeah, I got some. I'm a big Wolverine fan, so I have Wolverine's first original run. I'm gonna buy the Frank Miller miniseries run at some point. I feel like I should get that too. But that's anything dealing with Wolverine, 90s comics that are glossy, and Mike Turner art, and you got me.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't think I actually read a single issue of his Soulfire series,
Mhm.
but I bought every single copy,
Yeah.
and I get a kick out of it because now every once in a while, uh, I'll get a an email from Aspen Comics, and they're still using some of his art, and if
Mhm.
it's not his art, they've basically got their own version of Greg Capullo. Well, Greg Capullo was like so good and so styled with Todd that
Mhm.
you had to sometimes look for the signature to be able to tell whether
Yeah.
whether it was Todd or Greg Capullo.
Mhm.
So, and it's the same thing, but it's like, beautiful covers. And one day I'm gonna find them in this mess of comics I have, and just sit down and binge read the whole the whole run from when he was still around.
Yeah.
I think the most I spent in a comic shop was one year at Christmas. Everybody asked me, what it's like, I want to get you a little something for the holidays. What do you want? I go, go by Randy's shop and get me a gift certificate at the comic shop.
Mhm.
Okay. My mother's like, goes, what do you want? I go, and before I could say anything, she's like, I'm not buying you comics. You have enough comics. He goes, you had enough comics in 1978, and now you're just ridiculous. I go, okay, Mom, doing something right.
Yeah. And it's, hey, look, my parents never really they the comics were that was always fine. I remember being in trouble as a kid, and I would ask my dad. He would get ready to go out, and I knew he was going to the comic book store to maybe pick up some baseball cards or some type of basketball card he was missing. I remember the search for this particular David Robinson rookie card they had did where there was a printing error where they started doing these they weren't really abstract, but they were kind of like stylized cards from Skybox.
Oh yeah.
Players. And they had this one David Robinson. There was a printing error where the ball bled over the frame and went right to the bleed line, like rather than being cut by the frame of the card.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a printing error. There was only so many of those that got out, and I remember my dad searching card pack after card pack after card pack until we ended up getting 3 of them. But I remember him looking for we would always go to the store, and I would be in trouble, and I would know I did. So maybe I flunked a test at school or something, and can I come? Yeah, sure. Come on. And I get in the car and I walk in the comic store and I look around on the back wall and I, pick up an X-Men book and maybe a Superman book and come to the, then go to the white boxes, one box, find these X-Men classics and come over to him. Can I have these? And yeah, sure. And I would think, I'm grounded. He's buying me comics. What a maroon. But then I started realizing, wait a minute. As I got older, he was playing me. I was reading.
He tricked me into reading. Damn it.
Yeah. He tricked me into reading. It should have been smarter. But comics have always been a medium I've enjoyed. My wife used to get very upset with me because I would get these, $40, $60, $80 for comics, come home on Wednesday and go through them like quickly. She'd okay, I'm gonna go cook dinner. Okay, you go do that and I'll see you later. I'll be in here. And she'd come back in like the bedroom to get something, and then I'm sitting there on the bed watching TV. 15, 20 minutes later, and she's like, I thought you were reading comics, so I read them all. You what? Go through those comics for slower. I want you to enjoy each panel. I want you to now sit back and just enjoy each panel and savor it. Mike Turner, though, I got a chance to meet several times, and he got some money for me in New York because I did not know Mike Turner was so good at playing pool. And he handed me my ass in a game of pool, and yeah. But hey, I lost the game to Mike Turner, so that was cool. Met him. I got pictures with him. There was a young man. Chasen was his name. Very good. And David Jackson was another artist that I know. We're all Michael Turner fanboys, and My wife told me once, "Oh, you draw just like Michael Turner." This is like before she realized he was my favorite artist. She's seen pictures, like she's seen posters, but I got posters of artists who aren't on my favorite artist list because the poster's cool. But she's like, "You draw like that guy," and I'm like, "Thank you. It's the best compliment you could have ever given me." And back this screen here, Michael Turner art. It's I do have a lot of his art around me in my office, and it is generally what I look at when I'm drawing, because I feel like if it can stand next to that and still look decent, then I'm in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't think it ever be better than that, but I'm in the right direction. Mike Turner stuff you can just buy, and I bought a lot of it, except from Aspen. I've gone to some of their Kickstarters, bought books. Whenever I see them at a convention, I stop by the table and look through it. And I say at some point, I'm going to own an original piece of Mike Turner art. I got his autograph on a lot of stuff around here. A Witchblade book, his sketchbooks. Yeah. Unfortunately, by the time I got the Wizard Mike Turner book, he had passed on. I think that was actually released posthumously. They did do a tribute version afterwards, but the first version of that book, I think they already had it printed up because it contained no, like he was still with us at that point.
Yeah, there was no memoriam in it.
Yeah.
I think I have the tribute version of that somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But I think with Mike Turner the same way I am with Joe Linsner.
Okay.
I discovered his art at a very young age, and I had no idea who this guy was, and it was predating the release of his Crypt of Dawn.
Mm-hmm.
But all his artwork was put out in the old Creation Convention flyers.
Okay.
And I still have, I think, like one or two of. I know I have like close to two of them. That because I went around, because as people would like look through the schedules and see what they wanted to see, they would put them down, and I was grabbing them. So I went out with like a fat stack, all the same thing, and I was just I was handing them out to my friends. I go, dude, you gotta check out this artwork. This is dope.
Mm-hmm.
This stuff would make great tattoos. And of course, now I have a Cry for Dawn tattoo on my arm. I actually put it up there, the 10th anniversary logo, and I go, hey, if you're at a convention sometime, can I get you to sign your name on my arm so then I can run to my tattoo shop and have them tattoo over your name? Yeah. So I have a signed piece of your art on my arm. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah. I've got, so I'm obviously like, a huge Dawn fan, and I've gotten to talk to him and his wife online numerous times. Sadly, the one time they came to the closest convention to me, I was in the hospital, and I couldn't break out to go to the convention.
Yeah,
with with a couple of dozen IV bags strapped to me with meds in it. But yeah, I've got Dawn action figures, Christmas tree ornaments, statues, books. I found like 2 hardcover books that I didn't even know I had. And I'm like, whoa, this is dope. When the hell did I buy this?
I think the Dawn artwork was the first time I was like, I remember looking at them like, I remember it was a piece she had, and she had a green top on, and the top was like see-through almost. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, can we do this in a comic book? Is this okay? And yeah, she was the first. She was the first scene girl, in my opinion. She was the first emo girl. She had the big hair over her eye. Yeah, really iconic character.
Yeah, it's just and that that led me to other books. Then one time through conversation, I then felt like a little off, because you look at certain characters like Dawn, you're like, oh man, she's so hot. And then Joe goes, he goes, yeah, all the women in the book, my wife models for me, and I'm like, oh man, now I feel dirty.
Yeah. Yeah.
What the hell? Why'd you have to tell me that?
Yeah. There's a character in my comic that's 100% my wife. Not so much the attitude of the character, but appearance, faces and everything. Face, it's my wife, but she's a bad guy. She's a bad guy. But which actually does fit my wife. That part fits my wife to a T. But it's weird because I think that we base these characters on people that we know, and if you it's like if you like a character, ask that artist, he probably knows them. He or she probably knows that person. Like, oh, I'm in love with your character. Really? Would you like to meet the real one? Come over here. It's a buddy of mine. Let me give you the Facebook profile. Just when Mike passed, Mike Turner passed, I was on it was during Wizard World Chicago, and he's supposed to be there. And I noticed that he wasn't, and I thought something was odd. And I'm like, this is a man who would come down to his table and sit and stay there for hours, just meeting, because his lines were that long. And I remember when he wasn't there, I said, that's really odd that he's not there. And sitting in a meeting or a panel room when Dan DiDio announced that Michael Turner had passed. Oh, it sucked all the energy out the room. Like, it was a hard panel to get through after that. It was rough. But yeah. Always my one favorite artist, and one of the things that I remember is that again, he was, the story that I heard was that he was he had been sick in his hotel room at one of the shows, and he came down and he signed autographs, and he stayed for longer than he was supposed to. And, he's sick and everything. And he says, oh, I didn't want to disappoint the fans. And I thought, this is a gentleman who's sick, and he's still considering, still putting the fans before him. I've had some medical issues, like you said. And I had 3 strokes now, and they've affected me somewhat. But I remember the first one when I realized what had happened, I demanded a pencil. And I remember, I think a pencil.
Can I still draw?
Yeah. I remember. I think I was like the Joker in the 1989 Batman movie, Mirror. I was like, give me a pencil. I got to see if I can still draw. And when I think I drew a couple lines. I think I drew like an eye or something, a person's eye. And when I seen I could do that, I was like, okay. I can still do that. Okay. I couldn't talk right. I was missing a lot of words and slurring some speech, but as long as I could still draw, I was okay.
Like, I can draw, I can work on the other stuff, but as long as I can still draw, I'm happy.
Yeah. But yeah, everything that I've created has been for, comics. Try to push, I've been told I don't push my own stuff enough. I'm one of the co-founders over at Terraform Comics, one of the founding members, and they constantly tell me, hey, you don't advertise enough. And it's like, I feel bad because, like, when I started Indie Vote, it was like, hey, I don't want to put my company first. I'm not going to advertise myself. I feel really weird talking about myself too. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, it's one of those things I have to remember that, when you got a team, you're not talking about yourself at that point. You're talking about your team. So when I'm, talking about Last Call Comics or, Liberty or Indie Vote, there's a team of people that help make that these things work. Mm-hmm. And especially with Indie Vote, there's a team of very creative people and more coming on all the time that have helped keep this they keep that platform relevant and growing. If you would have told me 3 years ago, even 5 years ago, I was gonna have a radio station and a streaming network, I would have told you you're insane. Uh, but to have all these things now for Indie Volt and in getting the type of audience we get, you know, weekly, we end up getting like, I mean, like 41,000, 80,000. I think that somebody said we broke 100,000 one night listeners. That's global. It's all global. So it's like, these are numbers from around the world.
Yeah.
You know, and these people who listen every week, and I really, you know, appreciate them doing that. It makes it, you know, it especially because there's some connection afterwards. We'll go in and I'll notice we're doing really well in, like, you know, Denmark, or, you know, we're doing really well somewhere, you know, in the UK, and then like a day later I started getting friend requests from there on Facebook, or the next morning from these really weird, like, places I never thought, like, I used to think they were bot accounts. Like, no, that's a bot. And then I clicked the profile and looked through, and someone's got a Superman logo, or they've got a piece of comic book, or they got a drawing they did. And I realized, no, this is someone who found us through Indie World Radio, and they remember my name and they looked me up. And you know, and same with Randy and the Indie Princess Lola, and a lot of people who come on the show regularly, they get that type of reaction, and it makes you, you know, say comics is this universal language. I know it sounds hokey, but it really is. Like, people, like, no matter where you're at, you can kind of pick up a comic. I know I've talked to people that they learn English through comics.
Yeah, that's big.
Yeah, so, you know, it's like, I really, you know, that's why I do what I do. That's why we keep coming back, you know, as much as we do, and keep trying to put the word out about books.
Now, since you don't like advertising yourself, let's ask you to advertise yourself. You know, what are you working on now? What series do you have cooking up, and all that good stuff?
Well, let's see. Last Call Comics. We're doing some things over there, but the book that I'm working on now was a book I've been working on since I was a teenager. It's called The Begotten, and I've drawn it twice, and each time I got rid of it because I disliked it after I drew it. So this time, my wife has threatened me with all types of violence and financial hardship if I don't release it. So I'm working on a version of it that I'm happy with right now, and I hope to get that out within the next couple of months, probably within 2 or 3 months. I hope to get that out. It's issue 0, and then I'm working on issue 1 as well. I've got a lot of stuff. The series I've created, Jeremiah Cross, XP, they'll all be continuing. Working on that. My wife has a series coming out called Lore, which that has been very freaky, watching my wife put out a comic and doing everything. And she's not doing the art, but she wrote the script. She did the panel, like this panel, this happens. Watching her art come in from her artist, and her putting stuff together. She's a graphic designer, and she's in college for graphic design. So it's been really interesting. And I've been very proud of her doing this, because it's like, man, this is somebody who, when I met her, she was aware of comics, but she wasn't like into them till, 10 years later. Now she's putting out, her first comic, and told us that, you don't come back from it. You're going to be a nerd forever. I can't wait till she gets it in her hand held. I'm probably going to record that, because that's when you get that bug. Like when you hold your book in your hand for the first time. Oh man. Oh, it's like, I'm gonna do this for the rest of my life. This is what I'm gonna do. And I can't wait to see her have that moment. Hopefully she does have them. Hopefully she's like, screw this. I'm never doing this again. She's already But she's already planning other things. She's already planning her next couple series. So excited about that. Also, uh, with Indie Volt, I'm not a part of the book, but Randy's putting out Indie Volt Revolt, which is another project. It's got the Indie Volt name on it, so I'm told that I have to own it because it has the Indie Volt name on the book. But it really is Randy's book, and it is a tribute, really, to Ralph Griffith, who passed away a couple of months ago. He was a fan and friend of the show, and one of the founding members of Arrow Comics. So when he passed away, it was like, yeah, that was going to be an Arrow book. And so it does have Indie Vote on the title, but it really is an Arrow Comics book. Terraform, over at Terraform, we got the Continuum Kickstarter going right now. It met its funding goal, so it's definitely coming. Got a lot of cool stories in there. Everyone knows Russ Leach. He's got Only Death Can Save Us. There's a couple pages from that inside of the book, so that's exciting. And yeah, that's all. When I talk about myself, I think that's pretty much it. Everything that I can talk about. Yeah, I'm trying to think anything else I can talk about. We just started Indie Volt Studios, which is created to put out some original scripted content. And the Indie Volt Comic Book Award Show. That's right. Forgot about that. Where we're gonna remember I mentioned it earlier how I said we want to elevate the status of indie comics and to get away from this whole like kind of hastily put together and pushed out half-baked BS that we've dealt with for years. Just because it's indie, people
the stigma of oh, it's indie comics, they don't have
Yeah.
anybody good.
Yeah, and it's like you pick up some of these indie comics now, they are gourmet comics. They are artisan comics where the paper has been carefully selected. So that the award shows, in my opinion, need to rise up a bit. And so that's what we're doing with the Indie Vote Comic Book Awards, is that we're making a quality show. It's everything's merit based. Eric Dreaded Dinosaur, he keeps saying, hey, this is not a show based on popularity. This is not a popularity contest. This is a show where the judges, who he's one of them, I'm not a judge, will be, looking at the best books, that deserve these awards. You have to submit. There is a submission cost. It's $5 for the title, and then $1 for each category you'd want to be considered in. There's I think there's 14 categories. Tops you're gonna come out paying, I think, $21 at the most. The least is like $6. And we didn't really want to do a submission fee, but there were a couple different reasons why we had to. And because I didn't want to do that, and me and my wife felt it was like we didn't want to have a submission fee, we were able to talk some of our sponsors and partners into allowing us to give that fee away to Autism Speaks, which when I was 30 years old, I was diagnosed with Asperger's. So it was like, oh, well, okay, that all of a sudden a lot of stuff makes sense. Like why I do things certain ways. And it's like, my son is they consider him a high functioning autistic. He's very good with my son is basically Sheldon Cooper, basically. Very logical, very to the point, doesn't understand sarcasm at all. But he's his schoolwork, great grades, top of his class, always in like the it's freaky how smart he is. And but man, he just is not. He reads comics. He loves comic books and everything, and we have long conversations, he and I. But he's just very logical. So when it came to selecting a charity, it was like, what Autism Speaks is. Let's give them some money, and So that's where that fee goes. So if you're on the fence about submitting because there is a fee, just know that fee is going to charity. It's not going into my pocket. We want to make sure that people are having when they're submitting to, that they know where their money's going.
Yeah, being donated to a good cause.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I have some good friends out this way, and one of them is my friend Christopher. Is he raises money for Team Christopher Autism Speaks, and he does all the local conventions, and nicest guy. I tried to get him to come on the show one time to talk about it, and he's like, and he just pointed at our mutual friend Jay Boy. He goes, "Can you do that?" And because some of my friends are streamers and just so happen to be GameStop managers.
Yeah.
And when stores close or stuff goes to absolute clearance, let's get it out of here. They buy it at their discount, and they ship boxes of stuff to Team Christopher and be like, here, put it up on your tables for donations. And they've always got a big booth donated to them from whatever convention they go to. And my daughter's mother's oldest son also had Asperger's, so I actually took him to his first convention back in 2019. I covered Rhode Island Comic Con for Outright Geekery, and he went with me on the Sunday. And I said, hold on, I gotta go over here. He goes, what's that? I go, oh, this is my friend Christopher and all their friends manning these tables. It's for Autism Speaks. And then Matt bought $30 worth of stuff, and I bought I bought a bunch of stuff. They make obviously with my online handle of Joker Fan, I bought all Joker stuff. But they had the GameStop used to have these 8-bit Nintendo characters, and they were modeled after comic book characters and stuff.
Yeah.
And I go, oh, those are cool. And there was a Joker one. I go, ooh. I go, what do you want for that? He goes, those are $5. I go, it's a 20. Here's a change. I go, no, I'll keep it.
Yeah.
And donated in, and I bought one of the little pasta creation things they do with the colored pasta, and I go, so I got a little pasta Joker, and I got a other one, and then my daughter goes, Dad, this thing lights up. You just got to put a couple AA batteries, and I go, oh, that's awesome. And then she looks at me and goes, it doesn't matter. I know you're not gonna open it.
Yeah. Yeah, my wife has a Harley like that doesn't open. She used to work at GameStop, and she's a Harley Quinn that lights up, but it'll never light up because she won't open it. They do so much with the little money they got, and it's a really good cause. So we're really excited to be associated with them for the event, and any other sponsor that we have for the Indie Vote Comic Book Awards, which again, shameless plug, if you want to go over there, indievoteawards.com is the website for that. Go check it out, and submit your work. It doesn't have to be your work. It could be a book you think needs to be recognized. You can submit your buddy's book, or as long as it's an independent comic, you can submit it, and we'll take a look at it. The award show is going to be September 18th at Dave and Buster's, who's helping us put the event together. So it will be a live event. There will be some guests there. It'll be live. It will also be streaming the event live too as it happens. So excited about that as well.
Yeah, that'll be cool. I don't think I've ever seen an Indie Comics award show before.
Yeah, I've been to them. So, it wasn't indie, it was a comic book award show. I've been to them, and it was fun. Wasn't recorded though. I thought people would have recorded it. So I think there was people were recording certain segments, but this whole thing will be recorded and streamed online so people can watch it. And hopefully we get a lot of people who are nominated out to the show. If they can get there, that'd be great. If not, but we are hoping as restrictions here in Michigan are starting to be lifted a bit, that we'll be able to have people, be at the venue, because we were going to do this last year. And just as we start, we signed the contract, got the money up there, no convention. Because they canceled all our conventions, and then the venue said, "Hey, we can't serve food. As a matter of fact, we can't even open." So they had to shut down. So we had to cancel last year's event because there was literally no place to have it. You can't have any people together. So now as the restrictions are starting to ease off a bit, we got our fingers crossed. But as for now, we're moving as if we're going to have the event, and excited about that.
Yeah, that'll be great. That you guys are televising it. You're gonna stream it out, because it'll also get probably some work of people that a lot of people weren't familiar with, out in front of it, and hopefully that'll make people aware of some new creators on top of ones that they probably already know if they're an indie fan.
Yeah,
and there's been a lot of that. Like I think the indie scene has been on the rise like the last couple of years, and especially last year when Diamond closed down, and DC and Marvel pretty much closed down, and then a lot of stores couldn't get stuff. I know from talking to Danny Morales over at the Collective in Florida that they just started buying, ordering indie books and getting stuff shipped in because nobody was shipping anything. So that's all a lot of stores had was, independence to the rescue.
Mm-hmm. And and we have store sign up. Real quick, could you hand me one of those Liberty boxes real quick? I'll show you what a Liberty box, the standard Liberty box, looks like. It's one of the smaller ones. So if someone orders, we have some bigger boxes too for bigger orders, but typical Liberty box. Thank you. Comes like this. Well, there's Belle. She's on the box. So what happens is that we started doing a lot of research. What we discovered was that Diamond had been doing some real shoddy work on how they're packing boxes. So you'll notice, you'll notice up here, my mic's in the way, but there's a little slip of paper that goes right here. They can tear that open. They can get their invoice out. Their invoice isn't just thrown in the box like so many of them are. But everything's bubble wrapped. All the books are bubble wrapped when you get them out out of our boxes here. Also, you'll notice something else here. Here I got a copy of Psycho Sirens, which is one of my books. Hey, Randy. And Psycho Sirens, you'll notice that it is bagged and boarded. There's a reason for that, because that's where our books come at Liberty. When we ship them to the stores, they go to the stores bagged and boarded. We call it from ship to shelf. So all that store owner needs to do is all she has to do is open this, look at her invoice. She can tell, okay, I got 5 of these, 20 of those, whatever, and they're already bagged and boarded. She can just throw them right on the shelf. She doesn't have to worry about, taking time to bag and board the books and get them out there. Nice sturdy boxes. I think the crush rate was like 150 pounds, 180 pounds, something like that. But yeah, that's one of the things we like to do. We like to try to get as many people their products as safely and in as best shape as possible. I've ordered a lot of books of crowdfunding. Sometimes they didn't come in the best condition. I thought they were going to come a lot better than what they were. So we're going to ship boxes. We're going to ship books. We're going to make sure that those books get shipped with some quality and some decency in mind. I mean, it doesn't take much to wrap a book up. It doesn't take much to, I know we may go a little bit overboard, but I'd rather a person get a book in pristine condition the way they imagine it was going to come when they ordered it. I had no idea the books were being shipped so poorly until I was, at one of my friend's shops who owns a comic shop, and he got his weekly order in from, and I had no idea. I mean, you open the box, there's just comics in there, and they've been jostled around in the box, and it's like, did no one care? Like, I get it. It's just comics. I get it. But I've seen whole runs ruined because, I used to work at FedEx. I know how we treated some boxes. So, I don't think FedEx had the license for the main distributor of comics, but I think UPS mainly does. But I know how they, I worked at UPS too, but it's not in the package handling area. But I've worked for both companies, and I know sometimes boxes can get treated pretty poorly. So that's another reason why when we design these boxes in our bigger box for bigger orders, even that's sent in a way to keep the books in the best condition possible. And there you go. There, I talked about myself.
And did I notice that all of Liberty's backing boards are actually in-house ads for Liberty?
Yeah, they are. You can. Actually, the funny thing is, our boards are for sale. You can buy that, and that's I always said that's an evergreen ad, man. That's that's better than an online ad. You buy a Facebook ad, what it runs for a month or so. You buy this ad, that's forever. That's gonna go, yeah. But it's either that's one of ours, just one of our in-house ads. But we sell the backboard. I want to say it's $400 for the backboard. It might be cheaper than that though. But the backboard, and that's 10,000 impressions that we run. So your cover, your cover for your comic, the ad for your comic company, it's gonna go out on all these different books. And they'll be out there because people put these in their long boxes. Somebody reaches in a long box a year from now, pulls this book up. They might look at the cover. What is this? I don't have. Oh wait a minute. Oh, that's the back cover. What is this book? Now they're over at your website, looking it up, and maybe they place an order to your website. They tell their local store, "Hey, I want this book from this company." So, yeah, they're in-house ads. We print our own backs and boards though. So, we print our own. We print those out. The bags are all those self-sealing bags, so you gotta worry about tape. A lot of work. Some people tell me it's overkill, but again, when I seen how bad books were shipped, I knew we had to rise above that and do something a little bit better.
You're doing everything to get all these books there to the various stores. Hopefully soon to be a store in every state. In pristine condition. So, I mean, now, can somebody that is not a store buy boxes from you?
It would depend on. We deal with just
retail.
Yeah, just brick and mortar retail stores. We have helped a couple of crowdfunders with their retail tiers, shipping the books that way. Now, if a person was a online retailer of comics, we could probably do something for them too. But for the most part, it's just been just retailers. Now, with IndieVolt, we have a buzz box, which is we get a bunch of comics together, indie comics, normally for comics that people we've had on the show, and we have a box that goes out. It's quarterly. It's called the Buzz Box, and it goes out, and it has basically a lot of number ones. And I tell people with the last Buzz Box, we actually did people actually did pretty well in that box. The box was $30, but when I looked at the value of that box, I think it was like $170. The value of the box, like if you would have bought all those books we put in there, based from the creators during their campaigns, or just you would have spent more than that. So if you're looking for something like that, indievolt.com, I think it's It's on the top. It's definitely in the shop, the Buzz box. There'll be a new one listed soon because we do them quarterly. So yeah, very.
Well, that's a hell of a value.
Oh yeah, yeah,
You know, number one, that's probably saving the indie fans like $100 in shipping from Kickstarter and Indiegogo.
yeah. It was something that we did, and it worked, and it was we didn't pat ourselves on the back too much for it. It was like, okay, this works. There's a market there for that, and it's all these different people. Because I've had people tell me, well, I did it for my company, it didn't work. Yeah, that's because you did it for your company. That means you're getting all of the stuff from your company. This is various companies, various different creators. I don't think I can do a Last Call Comics box. I probably could, but it's gonna have to be people who are just fans of Last Call Comics. Whereas if I can put Last Call Comics in with Nine Realms Publishing, in with Wolfpack Comics, in with Terraform, in with Arrow, in with all these other companies, and put a box out with comics that are accessible. Because you don't want to send anybody number 4 or number 5. They don't know what the hell's going on in number 1. They don't like it. You have to. So it was the other things trying to get all these number 1s together was a pain. And we had other stuff in the box besides comics. There was some lanyards and some other stuff from publishers who wanted people to I think there was a CD in there too. Someone had a music CD in there. Yeah, but yeah, it's CDs, right? Wow, who thought? Who would have thought?
This is the soundtrack. You want to read this book?
Yeah. It was fun. We're gonna do another one sooner rather than later.
Well, especially with something called Indie Bolt Radio.
Yeah.
So I know you guys are also appearing this weekend at CromCon 11 with Pops.
Yep.
And possibly me, because it looks like my daughter's not showing up this weekend, so I will possibly be haunting the halls of CromCon again.
I'm gonna go in there and do my best to entertain people for the small amount of time I'll be there. I do like doing the CromCons. I've been a part of only 2 of them, so this being the second, and looking forward to that. Looking forward to Pop always gets such a lively crowd that are there for comics, which is it's cool. It's an internet con virtual show, where it's just it's a good time. I like them. And then after that, on the 28th, I'll be doing the ICA Independent Creator Awards, because it's award season. Everyone's got their awards right now.
Mm-hmm.
So the Independent Creator Awards, I'll be on, and we'll be giving IndieVolt will be hosting that, and we'll be giving out some for the ICAs. It's a special, and they ask us to come on board and help out, and I was happy to do that. Happy to be a part of that, and they did something interesting this year. They didn't have judges. The idea was that since 2020 was such a hard year for people, that having judging people was not something they wanted to do. So that particular award show will be it's fan chosen. And so we'll just be looking at what the fans say, and hey, you won. And I have the easy job at that show. I don't have to do anything but just entertain and read the winners and nominees on the winner cards. That's all I got to do. Whereas it's going to be a lot tougher back in September. It's going to be a lot tougher because then again, actually, I've gotten out of that because I don't have to judge anything on that. So I'm all about doing the least amount of work I can possibly do well. And
work smarter, not harder.
Yeah. I want to do the least amount of work. I want all the credit. I don't even want all the credit. There's been times I've ran from credit because of credit. I can't take a compliment. I can't. I don't even think I can take acknowledgement. My wife always jokes with me about that. It's like, yeah, you can, even if you got acknowledged or something, you'd be all bashful about it. So she's right. She's right.
I got to ask you,
hmm?
what is the story behind the hat?
Oh, the coonskin cap. Okay. Well, it came about because hello, Phil man. Hello. Um, you know, the coonskin cap came about because there was a I both my parents were factory workers, General Motors, and coming up was considered uh, they used to consider. I guess I was considered. I feel kind of sad saying this. I feel ashamed to say this, but we're considered upper middle class. I grew up in a area called Rosedale Park in Detroit. If you know about Rosedale Park, then you know it's kind of like it's very suburban. A lot of factory workers, few doctors. My neighbors were like Detroit's like pretty much like it's well at some point some parts of Detroit, especially when I was coming up, or the majority of Detroit was black. My neighbors were white, so it was like I had someone attack me online, and they because they had known my backstory, uh, they referred to me as the Silver Spoon Coon. And they told me that I didn't understand the black experience, even though I'm black. I didn't understand the black experience, especially in comics. And I'm like, what? That is the most BS comment ever. So, being a prick, I was coming back from a con, and I stopped at a rest stop, and walking around with my wife in the rest stop, I looked up and I seen these raccoon hats hanging up. And I said, I gotta wear that hat on the air. And I did. I did. I bought the hat, and it's been adorned with pins ever since. My wife buys a lot of these pins. Sometimes people send them to me, and these pins go on the hat, and people don't recognize me without the hat now. So if I don't wear the hat, people ask me where is the hat, and it's become a part of Indie Vault, especially Indie Vault Live Wire. Like I should never miss Live Wire without the hat. I'll do like Breakfast Buzz without the hat, but Live Wire or some appearances, people have told me, hey, when you come on, you have to have a hat. And yeah, I've wanted to be convinced. Now it's funny because somebody seen me at a store, and they wrote me. They said, hey, was that you? I thought I seen someone who looked like you in the market, but I'm not sure. Was that you? Because you don't have the hat on. I was afraid to come to some guy and ask him. So yeah, I don't wear the hat out in public. Other than that shows when we had Comic Cons, I think I wore it to about 2 or 3 Comic Cons. I think I'm looking off camera to the wife for clarification and validation. But yeah, I think I did wear it to. I think I wore it to New Orleans, and I wore it to a show here, and then and a couple other shows, and then conventions kind of closed down on us. It's funny too. Like I wear this hat to the market right now, people are gonna stare. I wear it to Comic Con, nobody bats an eye.
It's like, oh, it's Varian.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's just Varian. If I want to, I will stop at con. Oh, hey, I seen your show. I seen you online. I seen your comic book show. It's like, oh, thanks. Hey, if you ever get famous, maybe don't wear the hat. Stuff the hat in your back pocket. It can't actually fit in my pocket. So yeah, I fold it up and put it away. I just have a tail wagging. It's become a part of me. The only problem is I can't find them in different colors. I wish I could.
Well, it wouldn't be the same though, would it?
No. It would be completely different because if I have different colors. However, I thought about it. I said maybe for some holidays I had to get maybe for Christmas I'll find a way to get a red and white one for Christmas, and St. Patrick's Day maybe a green one, but it won't be the same.
Yeah, at Christmas, if I put on, like a Santa hat, my daughter will go in my room and find my black and white hat that says "Bah Humbug" on it. Here, Dad, this is more you.
Yeah, yeah. My wife
You're
has
gonna be upset. I didn't buy you comics again. I'm like, I go, you could
yeah.
just go by Uncle's store. It's like, I don't have a license. And I would drive on the sidewalk. I go, yeah, good point.
Well, you know what they could do is they could buy those buy you boxes for the comics if they can't, if they don't want to buy you comics, just buy boxes for the comics to go in. We could always use more long boxes, always use more. I got some plastic ones from BCW that they're not.
The heavy duty stackable ones.
Yeah, they're black plastic. They're top loaders. They open like, yeah, and they're
Mm-hmm.
really nice. I like them. I take them to cons. I put a lot of my books from that we sell at shows in those, just because they can take a beating, rather than a long box.
Yeah, I had thought about getting a couple of them. I go, but I'm gonna want a top on it, and then they don't do that, and I think I might at some point order one of the ones for because they got the size up for the graded books.
Mm-hmm.
So I might buy that to put my. I've got I only got like a half a dozen graded books right now, but I've got a few I got a few keys that are being that are out right now. So when they come back, I'd like to put all those, build an altar for them or something.
Mm-hmm.
These books are worth more because I spent like $80 to have somebody put them in a coffin.
The ones the ones that I have, they have tops to them. I'll share my screen if I can. 1 second. They have tops to them now. They've always had tops. Here we go. Let's see here. Can you see that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they open and they lock, and that's the long box version of it. So they didn't have long boxes first. They were shorter. Now they have long boxes. So now my wife is like, oh no. Yeah, and they are expensive, but honestly, they are well worth the money. I would, especially if you're making comics, taking them to stores, taking them to cons, they will save your books more so than putting them in a regular cardboard long box. They're water resistant, so if something wet gets on them, they're not going to soak glue that cardboard box and get your books. Real nice. I like that. And there's not a paid endorsement. They're not sponsors yet.
Yeah. I know. In the past, like last year, I saw a couple of people that were pulling like a short box version of that, like on like a small dolly, and they were just pulling it alongside because they brought like a massive amount of books to have various people sign at the con a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever I cover a convention, I find Artist Alley and I just hang out there like all day, all weekend. So I'm sure like Bill McKay and Graham Nolan are like, oh, thank God this convention's over. The guy in the wheelchair will finally live this long.
Yeah.
But I get to meet. That's why I do this, because if I was at a convention right now, I would just be going around talking to creators.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, this is great because this is what I would have been doing. So now I'm just like, doing it from home because nobody can go anywhere anyhow.
Yeah. No, I get it. It's rough. I would like to go to a con, but I have some immune problems, my immune system. So it's, for me, I'm probably looking at, like maybe having to miss this year just out of, just health concerns of my own health. Even if they do come back, I may have to miss some. I don't want to. And if I'm asked to be at a show, I'll always go. But for me to buy a table right now, I don't know. I would love to have cons back though. I mean, we had fun last year in New Orleans. Lola and I went to New Orleans for Wizard World New Orleans. Had a great time. Got to hang out with Anthony Figueroa, a couple other artists down there, and got a chance to be right across from Preston Poulter. So that was interesting. But then we came back home, and I was hearing about COVID, in the peripheral because I had some books printed and overseas, and I was hearing about, hey, you're not going to get anything that you're having shipped from China because there's this illness and it's killing people. And it's like, really? Okay, well, whatever you guys got to do, health first. I don't care. And then it became a bigger issue. And we did one convention here. I hung out with Randy, and then everything stopped. Everything, like all of a sudden, I think the first convention that canceled was Emerald City, and that's the first time I think I realized how long is this gonna go? You're like, wait a minute, we're canceling shows now. Is this gonna end? It's only the smaller shows now are going to be the ones that I think we're going to be able to have for a minute.
Yeah, I've seen some of like the smaller shows starting to open up. I know the guys from Silverline are doing like their second show, but it's all like old school Comic Cons. No celebrities, just
Right.
comic creators and some vendors. So people are just going there for comics, which I'm like,
the pop
great.
The pop culture shows are gonna be, those are the ones you might not get back for a while, but those small cons, which is why we have a lot of hope that the Indie Vote Comic Book Award show will be, still be able to be a live show, because we're gonna do the show regardless. It's gonna happen. It's just, we really want to have that live studio, that live audience there to help with the excitement, and we want to have I said vendors, but we want to have no nominees, there. We're feeding them too, by the way. They all get food, so I'm looking forward to the food. I picked the menu, so.
and I'm just thinking, how many drunk creators are going to be yelling in the background of the audience?
Oh yeah. It's gonna all be taped. Drunk creators. It's gonna all be taped. It's gonna be I'm gonna have I'm talking to a friend right now who's a director, and trying to get him to come on board and actually tape the event, so that we'll have not just the streamed one, but a live version of the a taped version that's taped and produced and edited in such a way that it's like behind the scenes footage, stuff like that. I think it'll be fun. To see that, and might make that something you have to buy. But
click here for the after party embarrassing footage.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you and follow you and buy all your stuff, especially that comic that you're working on, that you've been working on since you were
but a small babe back then.
Yeah. So since you were a youngin' and your wife has threatened you with all kinds of stuff if you don't get it out.
Oh yeah, she's like, if you don't do it, divorce. Like, whoa, okay, wait a minute, okay, yeah. So I'm Varian Grant. You can find me on most social medias under that name, Varian Grant, on Twitter, KYD_V. My personal website is the unfortunately named WhenWeRiot.com. My personal website. I've been contacted about the name of my website recently, and it was like, what are you doing? I swear it's just for art. It's a song lyric. It's a lyric from a rap song. I swear it's all. Yeah, so WhenWeRiot.com, LastCallComics.com, my publishing company that me and my wife co-own, and you can buy comics there. There's a store. You can pick up books from us there. Also, ledg.us is Liberty Distribution Company. If you're interested in there, head it over there. There's we also have a number you can call if you want to get more information. You want to call, and it's an 800 number. You can call us, and any questions you have, feel free to ask them. Indievolt.com, which is website that I'm no longer the editor in chief of, but still a site that near and dear to my heart. That's the Indievolt main hub, and you can actually check out the radio there if you want to. It's at the middle ways down the page, in the music section. You can download the Indievolt radio app on Google, or if you have an Apple or an iPhone. An Apple. Everybody has an Apple in the kitchen, right? If you have an iPhone, you can download the Streamer app and type in Indievolt Radio, and you'll find it there, as well as you can ask Amazon's Alexa to play Indievolt Radio for you, and she will do that as well. Did I forget anything? IndieVoltAwards.com. Sign your comic up. Get in there, get recognized. September 18th is the day we're going to give out all those awards. Looking forward to that. TerraformComics.com is where you can go back the continuum right now. Couple more days left on that, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's the whole spiel. Pretty sure I forgot something in there, but
there's a big long list in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you for coming on and hanging out and chatting up everything comics in between and all kinds of fun stuff, and a few people pop in. This is going to be downloadable in about an hour or so from ageofradio.org. You can look for Creators Outlet there and download it from there. Of course, if you're watching this on Outright Geekery, you already know where you are. If you're watching it on the Facebook page, please give it a like, a comment, a follow, share away with your friends. Same if you're watching us on YouTube. Please subscribe to whatever YouTube channel you're on, smashing that like button, and all that other good stuff that I always forget to tell everybody.
Me too.
I try not to be pushy, and then I look at my subscribers and I'm sad. But it's we're growing, and our make sure you join us next Friday night is our 100th episode of Creators Outlet. Anybody that has ever been a guest that wants to come on and do some plugs or hang out and jump in the chat and throw your 2 cents in. We've got a big lineup of people. I've got my friends from Texas there at Lost in Comics on YouTube. The lads are gonna pop over because we've been on each other's shows a few times, so they're gonna come over and help celebrate. Pops is gonna be there. My very first guest and local friend of mine who's a cartoonist in about 27 newspapers nationwide. Tim Jones from the Sour Grapes strip will be there because he was the very first guest. A bunch of other people, creator of Cult of Dracula, and the list goes on and on. So we hope to see you then. And of course, this weekend is CromCon 11. Varian and the crew will be there for their segment, so I'll be looking forward to that. And there's a huge list of people. 24 hours and 2 days, and you can't go wrong. Check out all the talent and the indie comics, and support indie comics, and get your local shops to support indie comics, and have them contact Liberty Distribution and start getting stuff shipped to them safely and securely. Nothing that shows up there will look like it came from Diamond. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Was that a dig? We from somebody that's had to repack and return boxes upon boxes over the years to Diamond for damages on a weekly basis.
There was a comic strip someone made of Bill, and I never published it. I should, but they have a guy trying to propose to Bill, the Liberty mascot, and he has a diamond ring. She's like, no, ew, because it's a diamond ring. And so we started we had to call them like something else. So start calling them like zirconia. I think that was one of the jokes too. We start calling it zirconia distribution.
Oh God!
Because we couldn't call it diamond because we didn't want to get in trouble. So
yeah, I remember the 80s, and it's better than a diamond. It's a cubic zirconia.
Yeah.
She'll never know. The hell she won't.
She knows.
Middle of the night, you're going to be getting a Colombian bow tie. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah,
Get the real thing.
Yeah. Now they got the diamonds. They grow in fact in labs now. This is a grown diamond. Grown. It's chemical. I see.
Yeah, I want a real diamond. No, well, this is a grown ass diamond. You want a grown ass diamond? Trust me.
Yeah.
Why? Half the price.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, she's just gonna know.
Yeah. She's gonna know it's real. She'll know it's fake.
But I want to thank you very much.
Thank you.
Episode 97 is in the bag. We hope to see everybody for CromCon this weekend. And don't forget, next Friday is the 100th episode of Creators Outlet. I will have a mystery guest on Monday because I haven't booked them yet. And Tuesday, Brian Silverbacks will be on to talk about his new Kickstarter. Every Wednesday, you can find me here for the Seanzilla Art Show with Sean Howe, where you have a chance to claim an original piece of art he's working on, or you can actually hit him up online and pre-order a signed print for when it's complete. And every Thursday, you can find Thomas Hewlett and I from Outright Geekery. In the past, on OK Boomer the podcast, where we take a look at books from the Silver and Golden Age on up, like older books. We hit the virtual spinner rack. Yesterday, if you missed the episode, this past Thursday, we did the first half of Kingdom Come. And next Thursday, we're going to do the second half of the Kingdom Come series, one of the best written miniseries ever for DC Comics. Until next time, this is Will. You can find me at JokerFan on Twitter or at JokerFan1969 on Instagram, and William Pace right here on Facebook. And Varian, thank you so much for coming and hanging out.
Thank you for having me.
And it was good getting some questions answered. And now I just got to tell everybody that I interviewed. Well, you got to hit up Varian Grant and ask him about Liberty Distribution and getting your books on board, and talking to the stores I talk to. Be like, Indie Comics. Talk to this company.
We're here.
Got to get them out there. Until next time, peace, love, and read some comic books. Cheers, everybody.